Good evening, Speed Gaming. It is actually evening. I've gotten so used to doing these as afternoon games, but it is evening. I am DarkMoonEX. I am joined in the booth by Avos, and we are here for another fantastic edition of the Final Fantasy Spring Tournament 2020 Extravaganza. We're doing an Earthquake seed here, second week of Swiss. Got Spectie versus Aligerbrap, and it is going to be a fantastic time. Avos, how are you doing over there?
I am doing well, Dark Moon, and I am excited for this race.
Oh, yes. I think these two are going to be fairly evenly matched. Could be a very fun adventure. I am looking forward to what's going on with these two. I'm going to release them right now, and then we can get into talking about it. So, since you've been here for a little while, what are your expectations for today's seed?
Oh, man. Well, it is Earth Week, so that means there's the potential for an early dive into that dungeon people like to put off.
Yeah, traditionally you don't tend to do Earth, but because it's incentivized, it's going to be a dungeon we may see them going to very early. And the checkered flag has dropped, and the racers will be on their way soon, and then we will see them shortly after. I will admit, Avos, I haven't seen you play before, because I think you and I just haven't been paired up for any matches or any free things that have happened on the side. What are your traditional moves when you get into a seat like?
I'm still pretty new, so I just go for the standard. Check magic, go up to Temple of Fiends, beat Garland, and see what those first two incentivized items are.
On that front, we should be seeing them check both the white and the black magic, because they have mages that can cast both. And yeah, you can see them making a beeline right there. Got Harm 2 is the best white. Well, I guess a wall is actually pretty useful, especially this early. Like a ribbon. Ribbons are helpful. And then black, let's hope for Sweeper. Or not.
Well, Confuse is useful.
It'll help you against Carry.
And in these early fights, it can get the job done, but it's definitely not as fast as you might.
Yeah, it's not pretty. I mean, don't get me wrong, I do love watching the imps or the pirates punch themselves to death. Oh! Well, that changes matters a little. Less than $4,000 right there for a ruby in the initial shop. Get to know what the item is. Get to get it for cheap. Already opened up a few places to go. I like it.
Ooh, but Ali did not check the item shop. Does not know about that ruby.
I'm sure they'll check it eventually. They're doing an initial imp grind, which is an interesting move. I mean, with the scaling we have and the fact that the trash mobs, as we like to call them, aren't clamped, the initial enemies tend to not be that difficult to take out. Now, admittedly, I say that while we don't have any sweeper spells, but you got Confuse. I think I'd just wander up to Garland, get a level or two off of him by confusing him and letting him go to town punching himself while I swipe at him with a sword. I don't think I'd worry about these trash mobs.
It does give them an extra charge in case there's particularly nasty things inside of the Temple of Fiends. And the extra hit points can give them a little more wiggle room in case Garland is doing nasty things.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if it's me, and I'm worried about the enemy packs I might see over in Temple of Fiends, I just hope for a save item at the item shop, which I don't know if they had any, and then just scum my way through the monsters there just in case I find anything unrunnable, because, yeah, that lack of sweepers. Or just take the ship and immediately sail over to, Provoca and see what they have there that might be useful to me. This might be one of those ones that just defies the traditional opening move.
Yeah, definitely. Those sweepers, you get so used to having them because there's so many of them. Usually one ends up in level 1. You gotta come up with solutions for those few times when they don't.
Yep, it's Randomizer. You have to work around what you have. And Spectie seems to be doing that play exactly, going over the pirates. Actually, it looks like Ellie's following suit. Gonna confuse the pirates, maybe get a sweeper, and then let the pirates do their magic of giving you some levels, some money, and get out of the way. Ouch! Brack is great to have. Brack is great for Tiamat and Kraken, but So far, the best spells we've got are like Heal 3 and Invis. That is... I mean, Brack will take out Garland. Let's just put it like that.
And it'll definitely last into the mid game, but not what you want to see at level 2. Now, Spectie reset after seeing the magic, whereas Ali is going ahead with that pirate fight.
Yeah, I like this move better. You've got an in right there. Save, confuse them, hope they take each other out. I mean, pirates traditionally only have, I think, 3 health, so even scaled up all the way, I think they can only do like 6. They're not going to hit that hard. You don't care about that thief. So just let them confuse themselves. They'll punch each other and kill them, and then you can just sit back and watch the magic happen.
Meanwhile, in the Temple of Fiends, we found a silver knife in our first chest.
It's a weapon. Ooh, there you go. Pro Ring and Dragon Armor. The Pro Ring is useful now. The Dragon Armor is useful for those fighters later. That's a win-win.
It's definitely nice, but you know what it's not? Money for that ruby.
Or progression. Yeah. Well, I guess if you're expecting to get a ribbon, and you know that there are 2 opal armors floating around, and you don't get nuked by creeps, ow, then, whew, wow, the math on, like, Earth Cave and Topher just got a whole hell of a lot worse right there. But no, the, knowing that there are opal armors out there, if you're just gonna slap a ribbon on that fighter anyway, the opal has the same defense as the dragon. You could sell that dragon armor now, get yourself a ruby, and maybe dodge out on this Topher, because those creeps, woo! Those are gross.
Ooh, definitely. Looks like the pirates had the adamant, and in the Provoca armor shop, we found pro rings. Pretty pricey at 27,000, but we do know they're...
That's good, and if you don't get enough of them during the mid to late game, you can pop by Provoca on the way back as you're buying spells for your fighter, and get it taken care of that way. I think the seed right now is directing us to go over to Dwarf and then Earth. It's what it wants us to do.
Well, I definitely don't think it wants us using much magic.
It doesn't want us using any magic. It's being quite stingy in that front. Spectie's the first to take out Garland. Manages to do it with a combination of spells and melee. Gets a couple bats out of the way, saves Sarah, and we get the bottle from the king. Not useful right now. And the TNT from Sarah. That is 2 turn-ins of Dwarf immediately. If they're lucky, they'll get a key almost immediately, and they can do just a one-stop shop with Dwarf and never have to go back.
That's pretty nice when you only ever have to go to Dwarf Cave once.
One and done. Now, Aligerbrap is following in the footsteps. Gonna go see what they can do. Of course, they have the adamant already, so while you might think that Spectie's a little ahead, it's really not. They have Garland down, Ellie has the pirates down. We'll have to see from here which one finally gets ahead. But Spectie is doing the early Matoya play to see what's available over here.
Ooh, and
do you?
Allie sees those nuke creeps.
Those are going to be haunting us for the early game. So do you tend to do the Matoya check early in these seeds, or have you taken to doing what a lot of us do and just kind of wait on Matoya no matter what? Because I know the meta is kind of weird on Swiss flags right now, and it's hard to know whether or not visiting Matoya early is worth it or not. We haven't found the loose yet, but, you know?
Well, the thing is, I like to check the chests in Matoya's cave in case there's a loose canal there. Because I would much rather have a loose canal in Matoya's cave than having to dive all the way through Marsh Cave, especially when the creeps around Marsh Cave are going to have nuke.
Not just around, if I'm not mistaken, I think... Are they inside as well, or am I remembering them with... Is it just crawls in there?
That I do not remember off the top of my head, but we've got a lot of people in chat. Maybe one of them knows.
Oh, they'll totally let us know. That's what they're good for.
Oh, and Thunder in chat saying, just crawls.
Excellent. Thank you, Thunder. So good. So Marsh itself, surprisingly, not going to be as bad as the overworld for one.
And I believe there's only one nuke in the pool for the standard mobs, so
yeah, if
at least we know
You were saying?
I was just saying, at least we know we won't have to see that anywhere else. Once we get out of the inner sea, we'll be safe.
It is a relief. Yeah, if chat was correct the last time I ran one of these, it's the evil man that has the nuke. So there's only the one that's in the pool, and we won't have to worry about it again. Obviously, there's a different pool for the Temple of Fiends Revisited villains, and there's 3 nukes and 4 nuclears in that pool, but they don't overlap, so we should be good. Now that Ali is over here at Dwarf Cave, we are going to see what the adamant becomes, which is the slab. We can do the translation, but again, without that floater, that's also not initially useful, but that whole little peninsula over there on that side of the world is going to be easy to get through, and potentially 2K. Hey! We got the hat trick!
Just like you said.
That's the commentator curse actually paying off in the right way. So we can clear this out, and that actually leaves a bunch more chests that they can check without even having to go to Marsh Cave. And, if they do have to go to Marsh Cave, at least they can full clear it.
Not anything too exciting in those chests, but we got plenty of money to buy spells in Elfland and that ruby back in, Canaria.
Yeah, it's a win-win in my book right here. Now, the real win-win is not having to go to Marsh Cave, of course, because even if you do have to go in there and there aren't any creeps with Nuke in there, you still have to deal with the fact that right now, you don't really have any sweepers. And getting levels this early on, kind of difficult. Personally, I think I would have taken that 7 wolf pack right there. They were all being confused. I don't know that I would have run away from that. It's early levels, and right now that's a desperate move.
That's true, but I can also understand not wanting to waste any time in case, those good spells are, still near.
Yeah, but you gotta have the level charges to be able to cast them.
That's a fair point.
Yeah, this early on, especially without those sweepers, you gotta take the levels where you can get them so you can start using any sweepers you might find at level 3 or level 4. I mean, at this point, you'd think the magic couldn't get much worse at level 3 or level 4. Now, I know I could be proven quite wrong. Oh! That's the floater!
Wow, we are now a canoe away from being in the...
Mm-hmm. Right now, that changes the math even further for them, because they could potentially find the canoe in one of these other key-locked areas, hopefully not Marsh, and then never actually have to get the canal, because they'll be able to just go and get their floater. And actually, if the canal is in Marsh, because Marsh isn't incentivized, that would even be their too loose. I think, personally, I would kind of be hoping for that.
The teams were not drafted Cyranus. We have a red mage on Ali's side and a white mage on Spectie's. But other than that, the teams are pretty similar.
All around, pretty nice deal so far. Like, well, at least the magic has been equally bad on both sides.
That's true. Wall, nice to have, but you don't have to spend a turn if you have a ribbon.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, Wall is great. Heal 3 is great. I think I saw something else from White Magic. Oh, maybe Invis. And that's great, too. Most of them are not super useful here, at the point of the game that we're at. They're just really nice to have long-term. And that's kind of how I feel about the Black Magic we have. Confuse and some of the other ones we have are great, but they're not immediately useful.
I would argue that Confuse can be useful in the early game, and then, obviously, probably peak usefulness in the fight against Carrie.
I mean, it's useful.
But definitely... Yeah, that's true.
I mean, right now, the best sweeper we have is a Harm 2. I mean, come on. That's... ugh.
And Ali making great use of stun there against that single creep.
Yeah, confuse them before they can, or get rid of them before they can actually nuke you, because the last thing you want to do is deal with that. So it didn't seem like there was anything worthwhile here in Topherlock, just a bunch of money and some random stuff. Junk to fill your junk drawer. So, I mean, it looks like Ali's going to walk it out. I think I probably would just reset, because it's just not...
Yeah, it might be that silver axe that's tempting Ali. It's not a bad weapon. It's not necessarily what you're hoping to see in a chest, but...
I mean, it's not a good weapon, but... Yeah, I think the accuracy on axes is lower than on swords, or they have a lower critical hit, or both, or something. Check and let us know. But I know that if you have a choice between swords or axes at a certain level, you go with the swords.
And there's Spectie now with the floater. So, also seeing the potential jet seat.
Well, until we start getting all the key items, we actually need to clear out the game. I don't know how jetty this is. Just getting in the air is going to be speedy, but there's still a lot of work to do here before we actually manage to get out of it.
That's true, but it's always nice to be over that first hurdle.
That's fair.
And it's also nice having one less loose.
Yeah, no, that's the big deal right there. They have one less loose, and they still can't get out of Circle C. I know chat's praying for it, I'm praying for it, I'm sure you're praying for it. What we really want to see is that the other loose is here, in like Marsh or one of these key-locked areas, preferably a key-locked area, so that we never have to go searching for loose again. Then it's a Jetty Go Mode seed, and I kind of would be wishing I'd playing at that point.
So in the Elfland Armory, it looks like we have a light axe. Now, a light axe is much better than a silver axe. It's still not quite as good as many swords, but it's definitely better than a fair number of the early games.
I think the equation that I heard, or the comparison that I got from people was, if you don't have a fire sword or better, ice or sun or any of those top tier ones, then you go with a light axe because the damage and hit off of it's pretty good. If you don't have anything better than that, you go with the light axe because it's the one to use. I see Expert and Ruse here, and then I heard from chat that there was early warp too.
Oh yeah, early warp as well as 2 level 2 elemental spells. Oh, and we've got Nuke at level 4. Elfland's got the magic weed.
That is everything we need right there. We get a couple decent low-level sweepers and then Nuke to back it up, and you'll get plenty of charges of that. I don't think that's anything to complain about.
Definitely not. And in fact, there was also Cure 4 in level 3 white magic. It looks like it is slot 4, which I believe is white mage exclusive. But Cure 4, as great as it is not really game-breaking if you don't have access to it. So, looks like Spectie might be thinking of checking Northwest Castle. Not a bad move. There's still a few chests and a few trap tiles. In these flags, the trap tiles are shuffled around to get all sorts of random encounters. Could be a great chance for some early XP, which, as Dark Moon mentioned earlier,
they're desperate for.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I like this play going over here and checking the key locked over at Astos. They found a weird sword, which isn't the best sword, but it's not bad. But it ooh, get away from those. You don't have the firepower to oh, okay. Well, I mean, okay. I'm not sure they're... You got 2 of them? Wow, I wasn't expecting that.
Confuse can surprise you.
Yeah, as they punch themselves. Still, if that one Chimera doesn't get confused, yeah, that's what you're gonna see. Yep, see, that's painful. Hopefully the other trap tile is something better, or get a few levels outside until you get some cast the nuke, and then come back in there and kill those Chimeras, because at that point, for an early game grind, that is super worthwhile. Sandworm's the same way. One Sandworm, easy to kill with some spells and a decent fighter. I don't think... I mean, making that confused do work, I just don't know that it's gonna, last for very long.
Well, it did get cured on turn 1, but every successful confused cast is also a hit you're not taking.
It's very true. And if they can actually get this Sandworm down, that's a good... I'd be surprised if they didn't get, 3 levels off of it. It's a lot of experience for the early. Also helpful when the sandworm misses your party. Oh, no health on there. Level 6. See, that's already like some, I think, level 2 level 3 charges right there. That's some elemental magic already. Marshcave is starting to look a lot better, but I'd go back as they're doing and just keep grinding on that sandworm.
Not only is it more elemental spell charges, but it's also more warp charges.
Absolutely, making Marsh that much better to go through.
It looked like Ali not as interested in either spike tile, going straight to...
I mean, I scoffed at going and taking out that sandworm, but then Spectie proved me wrong, which is, why they're doing better in this tournament, I think, than I am right now. It's, the math on that would be difficult if it wasn't for the fact that they have, no health. They already have 2 of the Chimeras down. That is impressive. And actually, I wouldn't be mad that 2 of my party members died, because this 6,000 is going to dump on the characters that actually matter, the Fighter and the Black Mage. Perfect. That's the ideal arrangement. Now your Black Mage has nuke cast.
Absolutely. And there's still a chance for a lot of nasty stuff in Marsh. It looks like Ali's in a fight that either he has to take or has no choice because it's unrunnable. I did not see, but Marsh tends to be a dangerous place.
100%. Yeah, it's the thing of, you can be level 35 and go to Marsh and then still somehow get ambushed and hit by some status effects you don't like and die. Marsh is just this area that, even with the best MDF in the world, can make you pay, and make you pay hard.
Absolutely. I'm not sure if Spectie is going for those Ice 2 casts first.
No, they were just unlucky enough to get 2 low-roll nukes casts in a row, and the Chimeras managed to survive.
That is unfortunate. Yeah, it might be time to go back to the sandworm.
Sandworm. I mean, the experience on that is great, but Stun Touch is making them just non-viable for this part. Yep, and they listen to us, even though they can't hear us at all. See, that's a nice repeatable grind right there. Easy. Ooh, 2 sandworms. Even better. Magic.
Looks like Ali found something he likes in Top Marsh. I was paying a little more attention to Spectie at the time, so I don't know that there was anything that amazing, but with that light axe, making short work of these undead.
I didn't see anything in our fabulous tracker. Danny doesn't have anything written down, but it could just be a matter of them seeing a bunch of money and having all these undead that they've been killing and getting the levels that they want. You're trying to get towards nuke. Any way you can do it, if you get enough of it, is worthwhile. So.
Absolutely.
Looks like Spectie is done with their 2-man grind over at Estos. They may be heading back to get more save items, some houses, and then get their other party members back. Now, personally, I wouldn't bother. You got 2 men and one of them has nuke. You 2-man the game right now, and then come back to the other 2 later when they actually need some levels for the...
There's certainly an argument for that, but I can also understand the logic of bringing them back up if you're planning to go into Marsh Cave. That thief running from encounters, very...
You've got, level 3 and level 4 spells, and you got a ton of nuke charges now. I don't think you gotta run from anything. Go dive top. If there's nothing worthwhile there, reset, regain those charges, go dive bottom.
Alley now in Bottom Marsh, the canal pretty much has to be here.
Canal or canoe? And personally, I'm still hoping for canoe because that means I've gotten both my actual loose that matter out of the way, and I can go mode the rest of the seed. Gambling is icy.
It would certainly make things much faster in the overworld.
Mm-hmm. You want a minute 30 or less seed? Even if you're a new player, what you need is go mode in the first 20 minutes and to get the hell. But yeah, Spectie is in a great place for this right now. Even the Harm 2 cast that they have on their wizard is the White Wizard is gonna White Mage. They're not class changed yet. The Harm 2 cast they have on the White Mage is going to be useful. I saw a nice from High Spirits, not sure what that was. Oh, something with poison.
Oh, damage poison on Geist Specters. One of the two.
Ew. That's grody.
Yeah, if it's on Geists, those can show up in Earth Cave. Do you remember if they can also show up in Ice?
Pretty sure the whole pack of them can show up in Ice, yeah. That's not pretty, but you've got a White Mage with Harm, you've got a Light Axe, you've got a Fire 3 cast. I think you go out both barrels every time you see one of those packs. Set whatever character your thief to run, and then hope that either like the spells come out, or that you don't get surprised by specters with heat.
I don't know if you just saw on Spectie's screen, those gargoyles have Frost and Quad X.
So this is Marsh Cave doing exactly what you expect Marsh Cave to do: be gross. And the fact is, they're stuck here.
Yeah, and you know what else it's telling me right now? It's telling me that Earth Cave also gross.
Yeah, no, with the stuff that I'm seeing right here, Earth Cave is becoming an absolute, I'm doing that last. I don't even care about anything else that's going to be in there. I will do it when it's my 4th orb, I have a ton of levels, I can shrug off a bunch of what's coming at me because of the ribbons I will presumably have collected, and then I will just wait until that's the last thing I can do and go mode it.
Shift 4 noting in chat that Geists can not only appear in those dungeons we mentioned, they can also appear in the overworld. Mm-hmm. So add that to the list of things that can just make walking around difficult.
Yeah, pretty sure they're on the walk over to Earth Cave as well, at the very minimum. Mage Staff, there you go, that's another useful one. Now you can get all 4 of your party members casting spells that actually help you out.
Putting it on the Black Mage there, I know that a lot of people like to put their caster items on their melee characters, just because then they have access to AoE. How do you feel about it?
I'm sorry, I was looking at chat for a second. I missed what you said. What did you say? Putting the Mage Staff on one of your melee characters? Yeah. No, I agree with that. Once I caught up to it had to track in my brain there. No, and actually, because you have the Light Axe presumably equipped on your fighter, Mage Staff on the Thief is a no-brainer for me.
Well, like I said, it looked like he put it on the Black Mage. So
yeah, I wouldn't have done that. I mean, it's nice conserving charges and all, but you already have fire on there. Oh.
It's always the last chest you check.
Not only that, but it's Canal, which, there goes my plans for a fast jet scene. Because now the entire world is open to us aside from a couple dungeons, and that means that, any plans we had about being able to jet on out of here are completely busted.
Ooh. It seems that Spectie is out of charges for warp. Gonna have to walk that canal out.
No, Spectie did check Keylock, didn't they? I was just saying in the chat that they didn't, but no, they totally did. So that was the very last chest that could be checked. So we have now Ruby turn in, and that also opens up Sarda as well as the incentivized Titan's Tunnel. We have the Sage turn in. Without Canoe yet, we don't have Volcano or Ice Cave or Deals. We can't do anything except for go to OnRack right now to check what is in the town, but we already know the key item isn't there because it was already found in Canaria. And then we have Earth. Gross Earth.
At least with the sages still to check and that ruby, that's 3 potential chances for a canoe.
So here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to try and reverse commentator curse this seed. And I'm going to say guaranteed the canoe is in Earth. Because whenever we say it's something like that, it never happens. So I'm really hoping
Well, it would certainly be nasty with what we've seen, but it would also be pretty entertaining to see them try and run through that.
Yeah, we're trying for the commentary blessing here. Like, it'd be funny, don't get me wrong, watching them suffer over and over for another hour in Earth Cave would be hysterical. But I don't think anyone here wants to spend that kind of time.
Yeah, that's fair. Plus, you know, wishing poorly on others just opens bad luck on yourself.
So let's hope. Let's hope we don't have to deal with Earth right now, because while I'm pretty sure Canoe is in there, the last thing we want is Canoe to be in there.
Spectie is heading back to Provoca. Not sure. Maybe
more spells.
Like more spells. I know that the pro rings are also there, but they're pretty expensive.
Came back to buy Brack. Cannot blame that move at all.
Definitely. Brack, very useful spell, especially against Kraken in the Sea Shrine.
God Heal 3, also buying Soft. I mean, Soft is nice, but if it comes down to whether or not I want to do healing of magic, or if I want to use a potion, I'm going to do a potion for my Softs, and I'm going to save my spell charges for a powerful spell like Heal 3. They share the same level, and I have a priority there.
That's absolutely true. And you generally don't need that many Softs, because usually when you see enemies that can stone your party, they either stone them all or just one at a time.
Yeah, and the fact that you can't even use a Soft in battle makes the usefulness of a spell like that greatly decreased, because it's about as many clicks to get over to a potion as it is to get to the spell level. The only reason I have it around is in case you forget to buy some soft potions, but once I have the money, I just tend to buy 10 of them, so I don't even have to think about it, because if you burn through 10 soft potions, it's a real nasty scene.
But Spectie could be thinking several moves ahead and wanting to save that money for the level 5 and 6 match.
Okay, I'm one of those people that says, and don't get me wrong, I recognize that the magic here sucks. Oh look, we have a chime. I recognize that the magic here sucks, but even in a bad magic seed, I tend not to think that far beyond maybe level 5, because you have to shift down a different screen, and it's extra clicks, and it's slow. Only magic I'll buy at level 5 and level 6 is Temper or Fast, and even like beyond that, I'm not even paying attention anymore.
But that's the thing, Dark Moon. We haven't seen either Temper or Fast.
I know.
So we found the
Thorhammer.
Chime. Oof. Thorhammer. Another caster item. This is still kind of early enough where it's useful, but still not the item we're looking for.
Question in chat asking whether or not we had level 1 Temper. We did not. We had Wall, Harm 2, Confuse, and Saber as the important items there, or spells there. Now, they both have ninjas, and if you class change them, that Saber becomes so much more useful because the ninja can cast it on themselves and basically get like a Temper Plus right there. But Temper itself has not shown up yet.
And with that chime, we can put off Earth Cave for at least a little longer. There's no guaranteed incentive, so it is a little bit of a gamble. But
I mean,
it
that's the thing, though. I'm sorry.
Nope, I was done.
Okay, I didn't mean to talk over you. Fade and Invis 2 at the White Magic Shop. That is lovely when you can finally get it. Hell certainly makes that White Mage more useful. I was going to say, the thing is, go check the Sages first and make sure that you don't have, like, the canoe floating there. But There are, I believe, 19 chests on Mirage, another 31 in Sky. If you luck out and end up with the cubes somehow, Sky is your best bet, because it's levels, it's a lot of good gear. Almost everything good tends to end up in Sky, like the game weights it.
Absolutely. Another spell at level 5 that I don't think we mentioned, Temper.
There you go. Fade, Invis 2, and Temper at level 5. That's one of the few level 5s I might actually care about. Aligerbrap, forgetting we're in open progression, but not extended open progression, and there's no ship dock down there for them to use. I've made that same mistake in these flags. That's nothing against them. It's easy to forget which version of open progression.
And the herb, still a chance to be a canoe, but we gotta turn it in.
I have unfortunately lost the... Oh, there it goes. Commentary stream went down for me a little bit, like completely crashed out. I was worried my internet died. But hey, we're back! Woo!
Yes, and in case anybody missed it, we had the herb from the sages, which, again, still a chance to be the canoe or the cube. Really anything to save us from that herb.
Spectie looks like they're going to sail around the bottom off towards the west to get there. I think that might actually be faster to get around there, so that's a veteran move play there from Spectie. I always forget, and I always end up going back the other way, because I forget just how much difference in time there is here, but the dock underneath is certainly going to make this useful.
We've got a question in chat. What did Sarda have? Sarda had the Thor hammer, Titan's Trove had the chime, and the sages had the herb.
And then the tail. You know what that means? Canoe is at Earth.
I mean, it's not definitely at Earth, but it's almost definitely it.
No, I can't think where else they can go. Oh no, you're right. Could be in the bottom 19 of Chime. The Mirage Palace may have it. And between you and me with those nukes, Mirage. I'd rather go there.
But it looks like Ali does not agree with you there.
No one ever does.
Oh, might not have turned in that ruby yet.
Spectie doesn't agree with me. Spectie is going to go check. And if I was in the middle of this seed, because you can see how long it took for me to think this up, like, yeah, I think I would go and I would... Ooh, not making the top floor play. Interesting. Yeah, I think I would go and I'd probably end up doing Earth 2 because I'd just forget that I had the chime from Mirage.
I can actually appreciate this play from Spectie.
Yes.
Going for the densely packed chests to try and avoid having too many encounters, and then trying to get to that incentive chest as quickly as possible.
Now, of course, High Spirits is pointing out that if, for instance, we get the Oxyale here in the incentivized Earth, which it looks like Spectie is just trying to make a play pretty much down to orphaning a lot of chests. If Oxyale is down here as the incentive, then that means that we could also have to go suffer through sea at this point to maybe find the canoe.
Oof.
I know. Evil and Warhammer, no. That's ugly. That is just...
You know, that early loose floater really just sung of incredible potential.
It's a tease. I am gonna laugh if canoe is like the last item we find, and it's a floaterless sea. Despite having the floater.
Oh man, I have seen those before. It is one of those things you just have to learn to put up with, but it's always a little disappointing.
Yeah, if canoes are loose and it takes us forever to get to it, at that point it's not even going to matter. Like, at a certain point, you already have all the dungeons open to you, and you just need to go, like, do the dungeons because you're wasting too much time trying to get the floater to be cashed in.
Well, Spectie just found our last loose item, which is the crown in that middle chest on the vampire floor of Earth.
I mean, I didn't commentate or curse them, if that's the case.
Well, if the crown turns into canoe, your blessing works, just not as well as we wanted.
Well, I said canoe was going to be down here. If canoe isn't physically down here, my curse didn't happen.
Right. That's why I called it a blessing. Oh no!
By the way, in case anyone's wondering, yes, I did roll this seed. This is my tragic affair right here. I mean, it's nice. Gets it out of the way. But, oh my god. Oh, and they're orphaning chests left and right here.
Well, Spectie knows at this point there's no more loose chests.
Okay, yes. But, right now the best weapon they have is a light axe.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I think the logic is to go for chests, locations that are a little more chest dense.
I mean, yeah, but this floor has the best chest density of Earth. If you're gonna check any of them, I'd check this one.
That's
Especially
fair,
with that
but
war.
I know there are plenty of people who also just want to get out of Earth as quickly as possible.
Yeah. Ooh, one of those wolves had thunder.
Oh,
Thunder wolves. Oh.
and we've got Spectie up against Lich. This is early enough that
Could be a fight.
Not gonna go down as quick.
Well, but they unfortunately missed the two things that can actually damage them: the thief with the mage staff and the nuke on the black wizard. And yeah, that was enough. Lich proving once again, no matter how strategic they may be, to be a speed bump.
And then an Earth wanting to get one last chance to ruin things for Spectie, but no, they successfully run away and have lit their first orb.
So yeah, at this point, they have Crown, which I would immediately go turn in. Just go do that right now. Get that out of the way and hope that it's like Cube, for example. And then if I get Cube,
I was just going to say, I think it's going to be a chain that has to turn into Canoe, because all of the other incentive locations are...
Yeah, because we got the rod. There's no other turn-ins. Yeah, you're right. Boo! I want Cube now, so I don't have to stress about it.
Well, Spectie...
Although...
leaving a lot of chests, but checked the one that mattered.
Remember, doesn't have to be Canoe, though. It could be Oxyale or Q. No, it can't. Again, because we got the two lists. Dang it, I'm confusing myself here.
At the end of the day, the seed keeps making us think it's our foe, and then it makes us think it's our friend. There's going to be another twist
at this game than I am.
Or maybe I haven't played it as much, and so I'm not as confused by all the different potentials.
I'm second guessing everything here. Well, at least it's making us pay for it. That is the crystal from Asto.
You want that Canoe? You're gonna have to do a few turn-ins.
So I don't know if you've heard, but the king was actually Astos in disguise the whole time.
He really hid that very well. That he was known as a very kind king. Really surprising.
Totally. So shocking the turn he made. I cannot...
So the Gerwolves appear to not only have thunder, they also might have death touch.
I think that's a guaranteed. Now, the benefit here is the fact that, far as I remember, Gerwolves don't show up anywhere else. Ice Cave, for example, they're replaced by the Frost Wolves. There's no wolves in Volcano that I can recall. There's other things there instead, like iguanas. I think once you get past the overworld over here, the danger of Thunder Death Touch Gerwolves is greatly reduced. Now, that said, if the Thunder Death Touch is on the Medusa script, then that's a problem. There's our canoe.
Yep. There it is. And Spectie, I imagine first thing he's going to do with that canoe is go to the air.
Yeah, and I think the closest distance right here to do that is to go down to the river system right inside here, and then just canoe your way over to the floater spot. I think that's the closest distance.
So, Earthcave giving Aligerbrap a lot more trouble than Spectie had, and I think part of that goes to that grind in Northwest California.
Those 5 or 6 levels they picked up early on just give them so much more health that they can survive a lot of what the seed has to dish out. So yeah, Spectie making the veteran move right there, using the river system nearby, instead of sailing out in the open sea. Getting right over the floater like it's nothing. And there they are, they're in the air. 45, 44, 16 in. We are in the air on Spectie's side.
With one orb lit.
So we've got turn-ins to do. I think the first thing they're planning on doing, though, is class changing. Yep, and then they're going to use that dragon armor they got, because that's amazing. Plus, then they have a ninja and a knight that can both start earning their spell charges and get more nukes and more warps and more of everything else out there, and that saber that we were talking about.
Absolutely. Now, Aligerbrap seems like they're going to check every chest in Earthcave at least once. So they're definitely going to find that loose. And
it's the play I'd make. I'm still looking for a good sword. Last thing I'd want to do is walk past the Mazamoon or a Vorpal or something. Anything for me that's going to make this party endgame worthy.
Yeah, that dragon armor looking real good on Spectie's knight, but still having to resort to the light axe as a weapon.
Yeah, and light axe is fine for the mid-game, don't get me wrong. It's going to do some work, but you really want something better. Especially with level 5 temper. Like, ugh. And no fast yet.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, we have Exit. Exit's lovely at level 6 if you can cast it. But that fast, that's what we need. There it is. Level 7.
Level 7. Well, 7 is better than 8. But that still means we won't have a ton of charges when we're having to go through Topher at the end.
No, that's going to encourage me to maybe 2-man my party again and try and get some extra charges on that Black Mage for a bit.
And Aligerbrap finds the last loose item. Now, the question is, will they continue to check chests, or are they done with Earthcave? Because I think at this point, if I were Ali, I would just want to get out.
And, you know, there's interesting math here to do that I just noticed looking at the spells. Yeah, that was what I was confirming right there. I'm pretty certain all the life spells are over at, like, level 8. Level 8 has life 1, certainly. We haven't seen much of the level 7 yet, but yeah, that's ugly.
Yeah, if that's true, then that means Spectie's white wizard is now the only caster who can resurrect those fallen party members.
Yeah, but level 8 life? Like, how many charges are you gonna have? If you keep them alive the whole time, that's slow. But if you don't keep them alive, what's the best they're gonna be able to do? Level 5, maybe level 6? The likelihood of having enough charges to make even having that spell worth it is so low. And right now, it's also level 1 life, like the first version, not the better version.
And we're checking the level 8 magic in
Oh!
Gaia. Oh.
Yup, there it was. That's cruel.
Yeah, it looks like
Thanks,
Spectie
game.
deciding not to bother.
Yeah. Well, yeah. See, that's the math. Like, maybe you buy it, maybe it's great, but I have a feeling more likely than not, no.
No, I definitely can't blame him for passing. Oh, and we've got to check on the Earth 4 north chests on Alley's side. Found another. But we're still looking for that Oxy Ale, which means it's going to be either in Ordeals or Waterfall.
Or Ice Cave. We still have yet to go to Ice Cave.
You know what? You're right. I'm so used to having to do Ice Cave before being in the air.
I feel ya. It's one of my first plays when I actually get over to that side of the world. Okay, I'm here. Maybe go hit Volcano Treasury, get a few levels, get some money, and then immediately wander over to Ice Cave. Unless I have the spells and the levels already that Ice Cave feels like a no-brainer. Like, you're there, you want to get the dungeons out of the way that you can do.
Looks like Spectie's going back to Northwest Castle to fight those chimeras, probably.
I can't debate this. I mean, he might be wanting to kill off that ninja, as well as the fact that with the stun touch there, like, you would hope you'd be able to shrug them off a bit. But a four-character party also can help take care of these ones pretty quick.
Yep, and Nuke doing much better this time around.
Uh-huh. Still managed to low roll a couple, but it wasn't the end of the world. Oh yeah, and these guys really don't have much health.
Uh-oh, and we've got those danger geists on Alley's side. Hopefully they don't wipe him again.
Yeah, thankfully they didn't roll much in the way of health, so the Light Axe took out all but like one of them, and then with a quick Light Axe to follow, or the Mage Staff to follow, that was all she wrote for those guys.
Yeah, definitely much better equipped to handle those monsters now.
Mm-hmm. Good items. Now moving back, Spectie's moving back over to the Sandworms, and then runs. I think they may have accidentally stepped on the tile, but I think I still would have killed them.
Yeah, at this point though, it's looking harder and harder for Aligerbrap to have room for a comeback. Spectie's got levels, exploration, progress. I'm not sure what can happen.
I mean, we say that, but
It's true. There's still plenty of the seed left to see.
So I just want to remind everyone that we are part of the Final Fantasy Randomizer community. This is our Spring Tournament 2020. We have a lot of great races going on. Already did a week and a half of Swiss so far. We got 4.5 weeks to go. Matches coming up on Speed Gaming Prime tomorrow as well. Come and watch us all this time because this fun is never going to stop. So looks like Allie finally made it out, got the Earth Orb lit.
Yep. I believe
and
so.
seems to be 3-manning it at this point.
You know, I believe with a party like this, that's a common strategy. A lot of people like to leave their thief on the floor.
Thief has its uses. They aren't many. But, I mean, they are an okay melee warrior. You can make it work. And if you get them high enough levels, suddenly they become a fantastic melee warrior, although, unfortunately, they don't really have the health to potentially, like, firepower through it. Like, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of another.
Absolutely. Plus, your other party members who can tend to contribute more throughout before you get those high levels.
Yeah.
Tend to benefit from leveling up at a faster rate when that thief or ninja is down.
Once again deciding to bring that ninja back up, I still don't really agree with that plan.
Yeah, it's a little odd. I guess Spectie is planning on spreading, having everyone in the party be useful. Maybe wanting more of those spell charges on the ninja.
Yeah. I mean, it's still a few levels to go before you really get there, and then you're gonna get 4. And it's gonna take a while for, I don't know, math doesn't seem to pay off for me, not in comparison to just 2 or 3 manning it with warriors that actually matter. Oh, here we go. Sun Sword. That's still not quite an endgame sword, but if you had to use it for the endgame, you could. I think that's 6th or 7th choice on the map.
It's definitely the best weapon pre-promotion. Unfortunately, we are post-promotion, so there are still better.
Yeah, it's not vendor trash, but it's also not great. But still use it because you haven't found anything else yet.
Absolutely. Ooh, and an Aegis shield. Now that is the best shield in the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, adds a bunch of elemental protections the dragon armor doesn't have. And now you can basically just chuck everything else onto the ninja because it's good enough. They'll take the ice. If you find a flame armor, the ninja will take that too. That's some good stuff there. Good treasury.
Yep, and it looks like Spectie warping out.
Want to save what they found and then probably dive deeper and hit the green chests along the path. I mean, again, they're in go mode. Whatever chest they check or ones that they feel like they need to check, and they're just really looking for the gear they need to finish out the siege.
Meanwhile, Aligerbrap going along the turn-in chain that will end in the canoe.
Nice to have it.
Nice to have it, but...
It's the best I can say right there.
Oh, there's another item that we need that I haven't mentioned yet because I totally forgot. The loot is still out.
It is, but it's going to be on one of the quest chains. Everything out there still is a quest chain out item at this point.
So I believe we have the power bonk in one of those 3 incentive locations, and then the other 2 are required.
Mm-hmm. Well, Spectie, hope you didn't want that white wizard alive, because they're dead now, and you're not bringing them back.
I'm sure that out of all of the characters in the party, the white wizard is, either the most okay or second most okay to lose.
Yeah, it's the thing of if they were really hoping to get charges on the white wizard, that the game just defied them. So the game was like, no, you don't get to have this, and then smacked them down and moved on with their life.
Spectie checking chests, a lot of chests in Volcano. Probably, as you mentioned, looking for good weapons or ribbons. I don't think we found any.
That is the other thing. Now, with the Pro Ring, the Dragon Armor, and the Aegis, the fighter is basically at, the equivalent of a ribbon, more or less, and they do have wall charges if they ever keep that White Wizard alive. I don't know that I'd regret the lack of a ribbon right now so much, but still. Yes, Mr. Tanuki in chat asking if the loot is still hiding. Well, we don't have it, but it's on a quest chain. We'll get it eventually.
And Spectie now fighting Carrie. Carrie takes down the ninja. A few nukes weren't enough, but another hit from the knight, and Carrie goes.
Yeah, see, I still don't agree with them bringing their party members back up again and again. It's time wasted. It's just not worth it.
And Aligerbrap now going in for the class promotion, probably going to follow a similar order of checks that Spectie did.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing right here is the fact that right now Spectie has a lead, and there's very little the game can do to stop that lead. Because no matter what Ali does, it's not like it's a move that Spectie isn't going to do eventually and has to worry about. All the loops are found. Everyone should be in go mode at this point, more or less. It's where you go and how much you search is the only thing that's really going to matter now.
Spectie making a really unsurprising move there, going to Ice Cave immediately after Volcano. It's right nearby. It's really just such a sensible move.
And they have Warp.
And they have Warp. That's a great point. Warp going to make Ice Cave a lot more bearable. Plus, they might have Exit on that White Mage, so that can help cut it down even further if they just want to check the incentive and get out.
Yeah, that's a twofer right there. Of course, that implies the White Mage is going to stay alive, and from everything we've seen so far, that's a maybe at best.
Yeah, the Seed has been doing Spectie a lot of favors. Whenever the party members have been killing off, it seems to be mostly the Ninja and the White Wizard. The Knight and the Black Wizard, who you most want to see with those levels, been doing a great job of standing up.
Well, I mean, that's the benefit of that grind that they did earlier. It's the fact that you get smacked, they smack the White Mage dies. They smack the Black Belt, Black Mage shrugs it off because he has, what, like 6 to 8 levels more?
That's a fair point. I wasn't even thinking of that.
Now, so far, nothing with Death Touch has managed to take out their party members, and that's very useful.
We've gotten an unrunnable encounter on Spectie's side. I don't think we've seen too many of those, so there's a chance that the dungeons we still have left are going to be very slow going with a lot of encounters that you just have to slog your way through.
I don't think Spectie's going to mind too much, though, because these are levels they can get that will help. There's the Oxyale. That's another dungeon that's now open to us. Maybe the one that they decide to go to if they don't get that cube anytime soon. Spectie, do you not have charges?
Might not have bought it.
It's a possibility. Oh, it's level 6 too. More than likely, their White Wizard just didn't have the. Anyway.
Choosing to warp out after getting the incentive item, can't blame that. Mm-hmm. There are still more chests in Ice Cave, with the potential for.
So this is a move I don't agree with. Spectie is going in and doing. Oh wait, no, never mind. We have the. Where did we get the cube from? Oh, Fairy. Okay, yes. There we go. So this is okay. Never mind. This is a move I agree with. I thought they didn't have the cube still. That I looked at the tracker and our tracker's fabulous notes. That would be our tracker, Danny3883. And no, I fully agree with this. See, there's that ribbon. What did we say about air always being stocked full?
Absolutely. We got a question in chat from Blunted Wax asking, how did Ali get out of the cave and back on the airship so quick? Ali made use of the warp spell. They used warp to quickly check the incentive chest, which in vanilla has the floater. There's a little trick there where you can fall into a hole and warp back to that tile. So you can check all 3 chests there without having to run through the whole cave. So it saves a lot of time. And then after seeing the incentive item, Spectie opted to keep warping out back to the surface.
There's our second ribbon, also sitting in Mirage. That's 2 for the price of 1 right there. Yeah, the fact is, if you've played the original game, you probably didn't know that warp could take you back up a level, even in like specific dungeons like Ice Cave, or back through the teleporters over in Ordeals, because you couldn't get warp or exit for the mages when you were playing in the vanilla game at those levels. You had to clear Ordeals, get the tail, and you had to clear Ice Cave to get the floater before you could even class change. So it's one of those things of, now that we're playing these things out of order, there's the defense sword. That's another endgame sword right there. Now that we have these spells at a different level and can get them before we go to these dungeons, just the ability to use them in ways that the programmers didn't intend is fantastic.
We finally got some route divergence. Aligerbrap heading to Waterfall Cave instead of Volcano and Ice.
I get that. Like, you get your incentive items. You do this, you go to Waterfall, you go to Ordeals. These are all moves I agree with. Now, the thing is, whether or not they decide to... Well, they don't have Oxyale yet, because Oxyale was over at Ice Cave. I think I'd do Ice Cave first, so that when I come down here for Waterfall, if I have Oxyale, I can do Waterfall, then do Sea Cave, and get rid of both of them at the same time, because you do the dungeons in front of you. By the time I start clearing dungeons, I want to make sure I have all my Go Mode items out of the way, so I can just boom, boom, boom all of them.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's certainly why you're a faster runner than I am.
I don't know if I'd go that far, but... question in chat about whether or not the Sun Sword is stronger than defense. I think, actually, the damage, or maybe the critical hit on it or something, is better. Azure in chat's going to check for us. I always hear that defense is rated above Sun Sword, but that may just be because of the fact that it has ruse on it. That would be a question for someone who can go check.
It is worth noting that Sun Sword can be equipped by Thundercloud saying Sun is stronger, I believe, with more hit percent. Yeah, the defense sword can only be equipped by the knight after promoting into a knight. As a fighter, you can equip the Sun Sword, but not the defense.
Mm-hmm. Well, and both of them could switch it. So if the defense sword actually isn't as strong as the Sun Sword, maybe go throw that on the ninja for the time being, just so they're both hitting at slightly better damage.
And we've got the absolute answer in chat. Defense has higher hit rate. Sun hits hard.
So I guess it's just a matter of what you're looking for more. If you get a really evasive enemy, then the Sun Sword's going to be better for you. Also bear in mind that if you're fighting against the undead, the Sun Sword is going to have an elemental bonus that the defense sword...
Yeah, that's certainly a thing. It's possible that Spectie may have wanted to put the Sun Sword on another character so he can have two of them fighting with decent melee.
Yeah.
While still having...
Of course, because...
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, you're saying... You go.
I was just saying, that way, they can have two decent weapons while still having ruse on the...
Not a whole lot of worthwhile stuff over there. Still probably looking for a sword or another ribbon. Because, yeah, the swords we have, not really endgame yet. We did get, of course, with the discussion of swords going on in chat right now, the natural progression went to Vorpal being good or Vorpal being bad. That's what always happens.
It's just the natural things of FFR, you really want to put off doing Marsh and Earth. Any chats about Sword will eventually become talking about Vorpal. It's just one of those things that is inevitable.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I will use Baby's first sword if I don't find the Excal or the Mazamoon, or, honestly, even if I find the Excal, I'll slap Baby's first sword on my warrior for the last couple boss fights. But most of the time, I'm swinging the
Maza is what most people look for. It's just reliable damage, and you don't even need to class promote for it. So, on those flirtless seeds, just, really nice to have. Oh, and we didn't even have to ask for Bless RNGs in chat.
There we go. Well, we were talking so much we didn't get to it. I missed what the robot has. I'm sure Danny will be able to let us know. But we're really focused right now on this Warmech fight. Well, there goes that Black Mage, now just a hat.
Oof, and with no life spells, that's gonna be a little annoying, but Spectie deciding to take a swing and run. Yeah,
no, that Warmech was not playing fair at all. nuclear after a massive hit, I'm out.
Absolutely.
Not doing
I can't
it, no.
really blame Spectie for running there.
So, Alex J. Walsh in chat asking for a recap. While we wait for Spectie to get to Tiamat, I'll quickly run through things. The vendor Ruby was over at Canaria for 3 grandish. When you talk to after defeating Garland, you talk to the king, you got the bottle. You talk to Sarah, you got the TNT. Then sailing over to Vicky, you got the adamant. With the adamant and the TNT in hand, you get the slab from the blacksmith and the key from Narek. With that key in hand, you go over to Canaria, and the loose floater was over there. Then you could get the loose canal at Marsh, 2 of the 3 loose items we had. Titan then had the chime from that Ruby, and Sarda only the Thor hammer, although as you can see, the White Wizard here over on Spectie's side is swinging that. Head over the stages because you have the ability to sail over there now. You get the herb. Herb then becomes the tail, which is our class change. Searching then down into Earth because you're over there. Loose crown on floor 3, and that crown then goes over to Estos, become the crystal, and Matoya gets the crystal and turns it into a canoe. From there, also on Earth was the rod, which meant you could clear out rod, or clear out Earth, and both of our party members, or both of our players, did do that. Then, once you got in the air from having the canal, the canoe, and the floater, and Spectie has already killed Tiamat before I could be done talking. Fairy gave you the cube. Luthenish people had the opal bracelet. Ice had the oxtail, and Robot has the loot. And Spectie right now is 1 orb up on Aligerbrap, having also killed Karen.
Make that 2 orbs after that.
You are right. Thank you very much.
And once again, thanks to Danny3883 for providing the notes for that recap that Darkmoon just gave.
Yeah, Danny3883 is the best tracker we have in the business. She is so good at doing this, and all the notes that she has provided help me out so much. Makes me sound official, even though I'm just reading off whatever she wrote down.
And this seed just continues beating down on Aligerbrap. Looks like that knight is stun locked in Waterfall.
Youch. Yeah, this is... I mean, they're plinking damage, but it's gonna build up, as you can see. And they are just not letting them go. I might have reset out at this point, because the likelihood of you being able to escape... Yeah.
It's not likely, and then you still have to run out with your 1 character.
Yeah, I mean, you can heal pot, but that implies that you're gonna escape, and they're taking something on the order of 20 damage around right here. This is not feeling likely. Good on them for trying, but yeah, because that fighter's been stunned for what, like almost 7 rounds now, and there it goes.
You really hate to see that. Any kind of stun lock, just
you could just see Aligerbrap just spinning on tilt right there. Like, really this happened? And I mean, look, they're full of health right now, and they're like, some of them are sub 200 health. Like, I'd be surprised if some of their characters are out of the single digits on levels right now. This is a rough place to be with your characters, and they really need to just take a spot and do a bit of grinding.
I can agree with you there, but I can also say they've got to feel behind at this point. All those wipes in Earth Cave, and now another wipe here.
Yeah, but at a certain point, you just got to play the game in front of you. I understand being on tilt, don't get me wrong, but it's one of those things where you're not doing yourself any favors trying to blitz through before you have the levels to do it.
That's absolutely true. But again, I think I can understand the mindset of, do I even have time to do that?
I guess.
So Spectie...
Different playstyles. Oh.
Yep, yeah, certainly.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's just the fact that there's the white shirt lurking in there that I missed the previous time. That is a big item for them right there. Being able to cast Invis 2 across the whole party as a freebie, unlimited charges, gotta love that. Also, in case you're looking in the bottom left corner of Aligerbrap's screen, Out of Bounds Bat, our favorite mascot.
Well, the seed is giving Aligerbrap's something.
Fits.
We got a question in chat. Big level difference, Allie getting the business or Spectie grind? And the answer there,
Yes.
Alex J. Walsh, is a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Spectie took an early grind in Northwest Castle on some sandworms, and
Sandworm-
Aligerbrap.
Then chimeras.
Yep, and Aligerbrap passed on that and ended up wiping a few times in Earth Cave.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I think that grind has been the play of the seed because it has just become a tale of two different play styles here.
I wonder if Aligerbrap would have taken that sandworm fight if it had only been one that he saw instead of the two.
You think the sandworms are going to have a lot of health. I can't blame them for bailing on it. How are they to know that they were the squishiest sandworms I think I've ever seen?
Definitely, and a lot of people I know have a strategy to not really go out of their way to grind spike tiles. If you're worried about it, you'll just pass on it and take levels as you go. But like you said, it's really made a huge difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, their entire play has been completely different just because they don't have to stress so much about their levels at this point.
Spectie going through Sea Shrine now. Looks like they're not really having much trouble. They've got so much equipment, and that Thor hammer doing a lot of work.
They have the equivalent of 3 ribbons with the dragon armor and the Aegis on that knight, so I think aside from just hoping for a sword sooner or later, they're basically done. They know what they're doing, they're going to blitz through, and if they don't get the sword, wouldn't be surprised if they just take that defense sword and try and blast it through the...
Now, it is also worth noting that without that good sword, Spectie only has tempers. At this point, he knows that the power bonk is in ordeals, making it optional, but without, one of those endgame weapons that we really look for, I can understand feeling a little nervous and hoping to find something better, just so that he can skip going for that power bonk if he needs to. I think he'll still skip it, even if he doesn't find anything, but I'd bet he'd feel, have a lot more comfort if he didn't.
If it was me, I would try and bounce off Topher once and see how bad it is, because if all the bosses are super squishy, which tends to happen sometimes, then you just don't stress about it so much, because, whatever. But if you get bounced out once, maybe just go get some more levels, or maybe try and dig another dungeon. If Ordeals has the power bonk, you hope that Vorpal or the Mazamoon is sitting in there as well. But I don't think you do that until after you've tried once. You gotta feel really good. You're basically gonna be done with the dungeons sub 120. I think you just try for it.
Certainly. While Aligerbrap, I'm sure, feels a little behind, Spectie has got to be feeling ahead. I mean, he's taken pretty close to an optimal path.
Yeah, no, I mean, at this point, I feel great if I'm 130 and I have all my orbs lit. If they're gonna do it at 120, that is just, supreme. Asher in chat is asking if Spectie is still digging a ribbon. I doubt it. I think the only thing they're hoping for at this point is a better sword. Because they're rocking a defense on their knight and a sun sword on their ninja, and that's the best they got.
We've got Aligerbrap checking ordeals. It's also possible that the Masa is here. Which would be a bone the seed could throw Ali at this point.
It'd be helpful, but I think if Spectie gets bounced out once or twice, this is one of the first stops they're going to do, because they're going to want that power bonk that they know has to be here.
It's certainly true, but, doing it ahead of time is a little bit of help towards Ali. It's still not enough to, remove this difference in times that we're seeing right now. But
yeah, what's going to be a three crystal deficit?
yeah, it looks like that that Kraken not hitting hard enough to take down the ninja even. So hard to see this, being that difficult of a fight. Although that defense sword doesn't appear to be doing much damage.
Yeah, the defense sword was hitting for nothing, so decent absorb there. But while Kraken may not have taken his Wheaties, he did certainly eat his Beefcake 5000 because he was a pretty beefy for health-wise for a fight at this level.
Absolutely, but once again, Nuke is a great spell, and with that, Spectie has lit all 4 orbs. I think we're going to Topher.
So Lord Zerman in chat asking how they knew that the power bonk was a key item and that it was going to be there. Well, when you roll the seeds that we have, you roll it from a website, and the website list tells you what key items are and aren't activated, and you can choose them as you see fit. We have a specific flag set we're running here for this tournament, and also what key item locations they are. Now, in the vanilla game, that Ordeals chest that you just saw with the power bonk, that is the traditional chest that has the tail in it, so that's called the incentive chest. When Ordeals is incentivized, that is the chest that is going to be incentivized.
Now, there's a lot more to the randomizer than that. There's a whole bunch of settings that you can play around with, and you can roll a seed of your own like this, or even one completely different. You can always swing by the Final Fantasy Randomizer Discord channel and ask around. We've got plenty of people always willing to help, introduce people to this game that we all enjoy.
Spectie's still looking for those swords. I would not be surprised if they even hit validation chests over by Phantom area and just desperately try and get a weapon out of here. We know there's not going to be anything, but they're still hoping. Oh, and they're flying away from Topher.
Ooh, looks like defense sword not good enough.
Nope, now they're going to check the Canary Islands, or the Zardia Islands. I think Ali already checked these. I don't think there's anything better in here than maybe an ice armor for that ninja, which you're not going to complain about, but...
Yeah, definitely not one of the endgame swords that you need.
No, and I think it's clear that they're going to check everywhere they can before they go into the end dungeon. I mean, they got 10 minutes to kill before they're even at, an optimal time. They're way, way above optimal.
We got Zenobian in chat calling out the Masa in the vanilla Masa chest. That would be something.
Lord Zerman asking if endgame is Excal, Masa, or Vorpal. They are considered endgame swords. You can get to the endgame with a defense or a sun sword as well. They're not quite as good, but it doesn't mean you can't clear the game with them. I mean, if you follow the logic of one of our top players, Spellzap, he finished one of these types of seeds with the starting weapon of the saber. So, I mean, anything can be done if you just put enough patience into it. It's how you want to play it and what you're comfortable playing. Most of our players, though, are going to really want one of those three, the Excal, the Vorpal, or the Masa to finish this out. Spectie now going in for the location of the power bonk that they know is here.
Now, one of the things you didn't mention there, Dark Moon, is one of the keys for being able to beat the game with a weapon like that is the power bonk, usually.
Power bonk, temper, saber, any of those you can get. The power gauntlet will cast saber as a freebie. So if you can get those kinds of spells plus fast and others, then yeah.
I think the important thing, though, is that you aren't limited by the number of charges you have. With Temper, you can run out of charges, and, I think it's a lot harder to do a saber play with that.
Sure. But of course, it also depends on how squishy these bosses are. We've seen a lot of real glass cannon bosses in Topher as of late. It's rarer to see one that actually rolls high than rolls low. like a test run with the defense doesn't seem out of play. I'd probably make that run. I did have a seed that I practiced on yesterday where Chaos was super beefy, super absorby, and super evadey. I don't think two of those are words, but and yeah, that one you needed like basically a black belt to get through more or less. But yeah.
Yeah. Still, though, just having an option in case the other party members go down. Again, with life being, out of level 7 and life 2 at level 8, we really won't be able to bring anyone back if they go down. So I can understand wanting to have that security in the back pocket.
So Ali is still going through and clearing out all the key items to get this taken care of for them. Spectie gets that power gauntlet, decides to take it, throws away the power brace, or power ring, or pro ring, as my brain kicks back around. But it looks like they're going to keep the ribbon on their party member, so that's not surprising. That's the right play to make there.
Interestingly, not making room for that black shirt.
Well, black shirt's black shirt. I mean, he wants the opal and the ribbon on his black mage at that point. The black shirt just doesn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. It's just, as a newer player, not a play that I would make just because I know, how useful the black shirt can be. But
black shirt's useful. But black shirt's mostly useful in the early to mid game. Here, the only thing that's really you're gonna want the Ice 2 cast for is the waters on the Kraken floor. And at this point, he should have enough nuke charges that it's like the nuke is more valuable at that point than the black shirt is.
And now we've got Spectie entering Topher at 124.22.
Iron armor and 218 gold. Wah, 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 wah. The validation chest, well checked, and we appreciate Spectie for doing that. Not really worthwhile. We're getting prayers in chat about Spectie checking the carry chest on the carry floor. I kind of doubt that's going to be the case, because those are way out of the way. But deciding to take this Frost Giant Frostwolf pack, I'm wondering if it was unrunnable.
That seems pretty likely. If you're trying to get experience in Topher, there are better fights. Yep,
yeah, it's
and there it
unrunnable.
is.
Yep. Meanwhile, Ali has done all the checks they can check. Looks like they have full cleared the key items on this seed. They are now making their dip into the first of the Fiend dungeons. Or second, I should say, because they did clear Earth while they were there. Getting that Sun Sword. Still the best weapon we have found from any of these checks. And Ali actually checked all of Earth, so we know that the anything better is not down in Earth. Yeah, that's...
Yeah, I'm thinking probably mermaids is where all those endgame swords are.
Well, I think Ali's going to check more chests here because Spectie did orphan a few. And Spectie also orphaned, I believe, all of Sky 2 and maybe some parts of Sky 3. So there's a possibility that the swords could be sitting there as well.
All right, and we're up against the Lich. He was a little bit annoying, but this time around, the first time around, but he won't be
generally not scary.
Yeah, won't be much more difficult this time around.
Claws ineffectually at the knight's armor, misses, and does survive to a second round, but I'd be surprised if it survives much past this. Ooh, hits for 1 big damage. Woo, Lich really bringing the heat.
That's a punchy Lich. That might mean we've got spell-happy fiends in the rest of Topher.
Well, do bear in mind, we already know that Warmech has one of the nuclears, so that takes one of the 4 of those out of the pool. And we only got to see 1 spell cast off of him before Spectie ran away. For all we know, Warbeck might have a huge spell list that we didn't even get to see.
That's true. And oh,
The
we've
check!
got a carry two
The
check.
check! Oh! Falconic and Check getting his wish. Spectie is indeed checking the carry chests.
Unfortunately, no reward for Spectie, but I think we can appreciate the effort that went in.
The hero of the people, Spectie making everyone proud. Here we go for carry. Gonna put out Power Bonk. Gonna just cast Lock 2 with the Ninja. I think that was a Thor cast, and then a Nuke cast. And carry comes out with a Nuke, blazing through. Oh! Takes out everything but the fighter. Yeah, and Spectie wisely resets, because that was a no right there.
Yeah, that kind of
more levels,
kind of tough.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Nope. I agree with this 100%. Time to get some levels right there, party. Oh, and gonna do a 2-man grind. It looks like. that was brutal murder right there. I also want to point out in chat, after doing that carry chest check, Falconic then gifted a sub to Speed Gaming to Spectie. That is how you reward a good play like that. Yeah, so yeah, these Chimeras have where it's at. This is some good damage or good levels right here. Didn't even get a chance to try and kill off the other 2 party members, but hey, that's extra health for some of the characters you need right now. And then maybe down the road, you know.
Aligerbrap lighting the second orb. Slowly but surely, they're making some headway, but we're going to need to see a few more wipes from Spectie if Aligerbrap is going to have a chance here.
Well, and as long as Carrie is first turn nuking, I think some of those wipes are likely. We don't know what her frequency is to cast from her spell list, but we do know that when she casts, first spell on that list is nuke.
Definitely. And now that we've got those 2 other characters killed off, Spectie probably going to save, so he doesn't have to do that again, and going back in for further grind.
Yep. Grind this, maybe get the Black Mage up until the 30s, and then part of me wonders if you don't switch at that point, kill off the Black Mage even once they run out of spell charges and go straight up to the single solo grind on the Sandworm. Sandworm has no health, just do the defense sword and just destroy with defense. I don't know what level you take it to with the defense sword. I don't know if you go to the 40s. I don't know if you just say screw it and go all the way to 50. I just don't know.
We got a question in chat asking if he's grinding, will he check mermaids then? Somebody answered in chat he probably wouldn't, and I can explain that further. The fights in the Sea Shrine don't give as much XP as you might think. The Chimeras you see in Mirage and Sky, they give a little more experience for their effort. If he was looking more for chests, that would probably be a more sensible play, but for experience, you know it's here. You won't risk running into any random encounters that you don't want to fight. It just makes more sense here to take this known tile instead of digging through chests in case the weapon we're looking for is there.
Plus, you got to think you'd fly down there. You'd have to wander all the way down to mermaids on the off chance that maybe, only maybe, a good sword is in there. That's a lot of time to spend for, I think, something on the order of, 12 chests or so. It's a play, I just don't think it's the right play.
At this point, I do think mermaids is probably the most chest-dense location left, but it still doesn't make any guarantees.
No.
And really, levels are what you want here. Having the Black Mage with enough HP to survive and nuke in case it gets out, and then having, those fast charges for the other fiends, really nice to have. Not sure what happened on Aligerbrap's stream there. I think he might have wiped, which just seems to be the story of this. Question in chat, what weapons does Spectie have? Spectie has a defense sword and a sun sword. Right now, I believe the sun sword is on the ninja, and the defense sword is on the knight.
So far, I haven't seen anything in water that really indicates that there's a good weapon in here either. I think just the grind is probably your best play.
Yeah, I can't disagree there. It just feels like this seed was, Spectie knew exactly the path to take. Because again, it's hard to imagine someone being that much faster.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this grind is taking a while, but if his goal is just to keep the Black Mage alive as long as possible, then he's going to keep the Black Mage alive here, too, because getting all the levels he can, and Black Mages just traditionally do not have that much health.
Dangwu putting it out in chat. The Knight gets a 5th hit with the defense sword at level 29, and the 5th hit with the Sun Sword at level 31. So that could also be one of the breakpoints that Spectie is.
Yeah, and the goal right now is to get the Black Mage over 400 health. That way, even if a nuke high rolls, it can still survive.
All right, Aligerbrap on the floor with Kraken, gonna go into light his 3rd orb soon.
I mean, this is what Ali kind of needed to be able to catch up. The unfortunate thing is, I think the second Ali gets in there and hits up against that first turn nuke carry, if they see it, they're going to be sitting in the same situation Spectie is.
They might even be worse, right? Like, they didn't do that early grind. If they've been taking fights all along the way, then they might be, but I think Spectie was all around level 24, so...
Yeah, I don't know what Ellie's levels are at right now. Every time they go into the menu, they're too quick for me, which is how it should be, honestly.
And it looks like Spectie is done with his grind.
Yeah, my commentary stream jumped about a minute ahead, and suddenly we were just done and flying away. I'm like, oh! Okay, cool! Well, that's great.
Sometimes the stream wants to go fast, too.
Gotta go fast.
Looks like Aligerbrap going for the potential Brack strats, but also having plenty of nuke charges in case, Brack doesn't work out.
Yeah, really irradiating that water over there with the multiple nuke casts that they're doing. I mean, I think they have nuke on 3 different party members there. That is some good spell damage. So Spectie's now in, doing their second die. Gonna see if this one goes any better. We know Lich doesn't really have anything. It just gently claws at you, as if to say, hey, I'm here. But Carrie has the gatekeeping status.
While it is known that Carrie can be a problem, usually the later fiends are the common gatekeepers. And there's still plenty of nukes and nuclears to go around. Just because Carrie is a gatekeeper doesn't mean she's the only one.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Aligerbrap managed to take Kraken out by getting the health low enough and quad Xing them. So that's a good use of that insta-death spell. Well done. That will put them in one orb away from go mode. Just have to quickly go clear Earth, or not Earth, air, and see. Of course, we'll see how much they decide to chest check there. They didn't do Mermaid side, so I don't know how much of Sky they're going to check. What they need right now to get an edge against Spectie, pun intended, is to find a better sword.
Yeah, that's certainly going to be part of it. They'll also need to get a little lucky with their initiative, and frankly, luck has not been on Ali's side.
So yeah, gonna check at least a chest here on this first floor. Can't blame them. While Spectie is slowly making their way back down to that Earth floor. I think they saw one of those ribbons that they were looking for. Which, yeah, especially in Aligerbrap's case, which they haven't found most of those ribbons, and we know there's 2 lurking in here. The brain locked up. The math of them checking chests is much better here. Okay, Lich, claw at us. Show us what you got. Roar! 7 damage. Ooh, big hit.
Spectie showing a little bit of nervousness with that wall cast there. I think nervous that Lich might be hiding something else behind those little claw attacks, but I can't imagine that there's anything else going on.
Well, and just in case, because the White Mage is the one that has life if they bought it at all, and they're the only one that don't have a ribbon on them, which is a weird move, I will admit, but yeah.
Falconic asking in chat, where did Life and Life 2 land? Life landed level
8. Level 8.
Oh, level 8 in Gaia, and
yep.
Life 2 was level 8 in Lefane.
Yep. So you get to have your choice of Life or Life 2, both of them at level 8.
Well,
I think I know which one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they didn't even buy it, so... Okay, so let's see what they got going on here. Got a power bonk out. First turn nuke once again. High rolled on that knight. And oh no!
Ooh, the black mage, one of the characters we didn't want to see, is the only one that goes.
Yeah, and there's no way to bring them back now. And there goes that white wizard as well, smacked hard by Carrie. Dangwoo asking White Mage had life. No, but it wouldn't really matter anyway because the White Mage is now dead.
And on top of that, they don't even have any level 8 charges. You can see it right there in the menu.
Yeah. Well, they didn't let them be a part of the grind at all. So they just reset. Yeah, both life spells were level 8, so it didn't even matter.
And it looks like Aligerbrap not checking all those chests in Sky that Spectie skipped out on, so I think that means both players gonna end up stuck with the defense and sun.
So Spectie is going on their 3rd dive right now. We are looking at... Now, they did get bounced out once and they decided to go level up, but they're on their 3rd dive. I think at this point, I would do this dive, and if this goes poorly as well, I would go and I would take my knight and I would level them the rest of the way to 50. And then I would go and I would dig one of the places that I haven't checked yet that we know is chest dents, like mermaids, and I'd get a sword. And maybe keep the White Mage up for that portion of that dive to try and get a couple extra levels on them. Maybe get them to the point where they have a life cast or 2. Because, like, you've bounced 3 times, and Carrie is the gatekeeper. Carrie is just not playing. Yeah.
And really, right, all we saw was a nuke, and then I think that was just a straight attack on the White Wizard, right?
It was. It was Backroad the White Wizard there. And it's the thing of, maybe if things roll different, maybe if the high roll nuke doesn't play, maybe if Carrie decides to slash ineffectually at the knight instead, or maybe the ninja, things play out better. Like, you can man mode it if you get that past Tiamat, and just try a one-player the Chaos fight and hope that there aren't nasty spells. But this early in the dungeon, when Carrie is destroying your party left, right, and center, I don't think you man mode it. I don't even think you need to try.
Aligerbrap coming up on the Bridge of Destiny. We saw 2 war mechs on Spectie's side.
The chicken's so nice, we saw it twice.
Yeah, so there's a decent chance we will see one on Ali's side, but I think there's a good chance Ali is just gonna run.
Ooh, 29 hits. Every time she that ninja faces off against Lich, she gets hit for a little more. I gotta tell you, if they get bounced to a couple more times, Lich is gonna pack the heat. 200-300 damage. Suddenly, Lich is gonna grow to be a gatekeeper.
That'll require a lot of nukes out of Carrie, I think, before we see that.
Exponential growth.
All right, we're coming back on Carrie too. Will this be the?
We know Carrie can be defeated. He did get past her. He just got past her with a knight and a ninja only and decided it wasn't worth it. So nuke from the ninja for only 100 damage. Carrie is eating their magic Wheaties there. Nuke does not kill the Black Mage. Barely survives, but barely is enough.
Oh, and the big hit from the knight. Carrie 2 goes down. Spectie's entire party still alive.
It's what you want. It's all you need. Then immediately goes back to starting to heal up. Gotta say, Spectie has got some really nice menuing right there. That was lightning fast.
Absolutely. Now we're coming up on Kraken.
I mean, I'm not going to curse it and actually say officially, I'm sure that Kraken can't be any worse than Carrie, because Kraken can be worse than Carrie. But you hope that after dealing with that awful Carrie, that Kraken at least takes it easy on you.
Yeah, now I think it is safe to say at this point, Lich does not have any spells or skills. It's pretty unlikely, so there's a decent chance we do not have a punchy Kraken.
Yeah, I think we've seen 5 physical hits from Lich and nothing else to go there. Well, yeah. Question is, how many of those spells have dumped on Lich? Or on Kraken? Power Bomb, fast. A nuke comes out, dealing 196 damage, about halfway up the scale that you want to see. White Shirt comes out, provides all the defense, and Blizzard from Kraken, only really damaging the White Wizard, but yeah, White Wizard's kind of disposable a bit. Gonna cast Cure 4 with them though, hope that gets off in time. 9 hits for 480 damage there, followed by a nuke for another 160. Cure Cast comes off, fully re-healing that White Wizard. And then the nuke again for 338. Kraken goes down, only showing 1 spell. Don't know what else they have, but that was not a very powerful Kraken at all.
Alright, now we're coming up on Tiamat. This is where I imagine we'll probably have to buff a few times. Defense Sword, not great. And Tiamat tends to roll high absorb.
So, Avos, take us away on this.
Alright, it looks like we're starting off with a wall on the White Mage and a fast on the Knight. Carry pretty big hit on the Knight, but he's got so much HP, it's nothing to worry about. We're just going for it with the Ninja and the Knight. We're doing it in Viz 2 just to be safe with that White Shirt. Decent enough hits from the Ninja and the Knight, as well as a nuke charge, but we're still going to have to go another round. Oof, bad hit from the Ninja there, but the Knight's making up for it. It looked like that was 422, and then a 306 from the nuke. TO2 goes down.
I do want to point out while that was going on about a minute ago, Aligerbrap has also come into Topher. Looks like they got bounced out a little. Gonna try again right now. So Spectie gets a free run all the way to the Chaos floor, and they, at 147, are going to be able to try their first official Chaos pull, and we get to see just how bad this end boss is really going to be. Does a quick check, make sure they're healed up. Coming in now, and it looks like we're going to do a bit of buffing along with our damage. Yeah, getting all the various buffs out. Bane comes out. Thankfully does not kill anyone. We got a power bonk, we got a fast cast going off as well in that night. Nuke to follow from the ninja for 314. That is a good roll there. And Wall comes out for the white mage as well to try and protect them. Looks like we're taking another round of buffing. Zap comes out. Thankfully, again, does not kill anyone. White shirt to follow up, buffing up all four of those characters. First cast of those that we've gotten. Power bonk again. Lock 2 to make the chaos a little easier to hit. And then a temper to follow. Really getting those spells going. Fade now, we're switching over to damage. 110 from Fade, followed up by a hit. Whoa! Oh, that Chaos had nothing! One sword swing, Chaos goes down over 1,000 damage. Total of about 1,500 there. At 148.32 on their timer. Spectie is the first to finish Chaos and win this seed. GG's to Spectie.
Yeah, great job by him. You know, that early grind really gave him, you know, the survivability and charges he needed to get through Earth Cave, and really everything just spiraled on from there.
So we were joined in the chat by Spectie. GG's, good sir. That was an impressive.
Hey, how's it going?
So tell us about that. You're gonna, if you go back and watch the replay, you're gonna see Aligerbrap, and Ali had a very different run than you did. And I think it all came down to that early grind you did over at Astos with the Chimeras and the Sandworms, just the tale of two seeds there. So give us your thoughts on the seeds, some of your thought process there with the early ones, and what all you thought about what was going on.
Well, I feel like if you had 100 people run that, then none of them would run it like I did, because I ran it that was the strangest run I've ever done in my life. I used Confuse more in the first 10 minutes of the game than I ever have in the entirety of me playing it.
It's the only spell you had.
It was interesting. I went to Provoca before I went to Temple of Fiends, which I had never done before.
We agreed with that play too.
Well, and what was unfortunate is it didn't pay off, right? Like, there was still nothing there I could get. My best option, if I remember correctly, was Brack, which I couldn't afford. But I was like, okay, if I go over there, maybe there's something, right? Even if it's Ice 2 or, you know, just anything.
Yeah.
And when I saw that, I thought, well, this is going to be really tough because there's nothing to get me going. And then I looked up, and it was like the hour 15 mark, and I had all 4 orbs. And it's like, okay, well, I recovered, and I'm ready to go. And then I looked at my inventory, and I'm like, there's no way I'm ready to go. So I wish I knew where some weapons were, but I'm really glad I took the time to go and go to Ordeals and get the Power Glove, because I felt like going in there with just a defense sword was not good, because if Chaos, or if any of the last 4 fights just decide to punch my Black Mage in the back row, and I have no fast and no Power Glove and a Knight with a defense sword, I really don't feel comfortable with that at all.
Yeah, we were talking about that. We still haven't seen any of Vorpal, Excal, or Masa.
Well, and I really like taking Thieves lately because, 1, you can always just stay in them, but 2, they give you good runs early in the game, which I needed and got a lot of good value out of. But it also opens you up because you can get 1 of 2 katanas, and so it gives you another in-game option. And I didn't find those either. I didn't find anything.
Yeah, no, actually, I think we completely forgot about that sword while we were talking about endgames, because you had the option of having a katana, and even, like, there's 2 of them, and they are elusive to you in this seed.
Yeah, I mean, I went and dug the Temple of Fiends keylock chest just to see if there was one there. I will say that probably the best thing that I did was after I forgot to check the Canaria chests, I remembered to go back there. Because I was halfway to Elfland. I was like, wait a second, I need to go back, and luckily the floater was there. But I've never checked so many chests after finding the 2 loose so quickly. But yeah, it didn't pay off, but I feel like the great equalizer in the end is levels, right? Like, if you can't find the gear, I knew I could always go grind the chimeras, overly so. And I'm sure that was not fun at all to watch, and I apologize for everyone watching, because going back and forth in grind tile is really boring. But I just felt like it was what I needed to do after Carrie just smoked me a couple of times.
Well,
it was a smart move.
I can tell you right now, Aligerbrap did not even see Nuke just then.
Oh, first turn Nuke Carrie every time, and they luck.
Finally, the seed throws Aligerbrap some luck.
Throws a bone right there, yeah.
Yeah, so Spectie, I don't think you saw it, but it turns out the Gerwolves had Thunder and Death Touch.
I did. I saw that in the first 2 minutes as well. I tried to go to Matoya's, and I found those really quickly, but luckily there was a really, really long run right off of you had the hard reset, 1 tile in the counter, and then after that was a really long run, so I knew I was going to have to worry about those for a while.
Well, that might be true there, but you did have to go into Marsh Cave and Earth Cave, and Gerwolves show up in both.
And I got lucky that they never found me.
Your power cycling strategy really seemed to pay off there, and it was smart and really a veteran move of you discovering that early and then just using it to your advantage. Oh, Kraken has stopped. We didn't see that the previous run.
Nope, but we also know that Kraken, not the beefiest Kraken we've seen, doesn't have a ton of health.
No, they're mostly glass cannons. So yeah, I want to mention that Falconic Spectie gave you a subscription to Speed Gaming for checking those 2 carry chests.
I was that desperate for a weapon. I was just hoping to find anything there.
You were the hero of the people.
Oh, man. Well, and then I tried Warmech, too, right? Warmech showed up, I tried to give him a go, and he smoked my Black Mage. I was like, you know what, I gotta run. I was gonna try to give it the old college try, and it didn't work out for me.
Yeah, some people in chat were giving you a hard time, but I think both of us agreed with the play of this Warmech is a little too dangerous to risk.
Yeah, he hit really hard, and he had nuclear in the first 2 turns. I 100% agreed with you bailing out on that.
Oh, I wanted the fight. Every time I see Warmech, I want to fight it. I would have fought him 3 times if you'd have showed up, if my Black Mage was alive, and I could have at least gotten fast and Tempers out. But I was level 20 at the time, again, I might as well have been swinging a wet noodle, so...
No, you couldn't find the Vorpal, you couldn't swing the wet noodle.
Wow, I would have loved to have had a Vorpal in this seed, holy cow. I would have much rather have had that than Defense Sword.
So now we know that Tiamat had one of our nuclears, another thing you didn't see.
Didn't take anyone down, but they're all really close. We're seeing a white shirt cast from the ninja, and I gotta imagine the knight is just gonna go for those hits, and everyone else is gonna try and survive.
The knight's swinging for good damage, but I seem to recall that Tiamat had a little bit of health here, so this is going to take a little longer than they probably want. They're probably really worried about Tiamat digging into the spell list. Thankfully, first round from the fighter right there, right at the end, takes Tiamat out, and that's probably a sigh of relief there. Ali can unclench just a little.
Yeah, watching, when I hit my Fiendry fights and watching Ali do their Fiendry fights, I really feel like if I would have not gotten Nuke, I might have been able to finish Topher on my first dive. And then on my second dive, I had 347 HP on my Black Mage, and she nuked him for 340 freaking 8. So yep. I was like, golly, my eyes rolled completely out of the back of my head there.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, Aligerbrap is now at Chaos.
We were debating what you were going to do if you got bounced out another time. Okay, so let's take a moment here and follow up Aligerbrap with their final fight against Chaos. First dive, first time in, gonna be buffing up. White shirt, power bonk. Fast. And Temper, just going to dump all the charges they can from all their casters. Really get this out quick. Good turn order allows them to get all the casts off right now. And now if Crack Chaos does anything, don't really have to worry about it. Already missing that ninja with just one white shirt blast already on their character. So we're going to get a nuke out from the red mage for 131 damage. Kind of a low roll right there. Followed up by a white shirt.
Chaos should die this turn. He had no HP. His knight should just murder Chaos right here. One swing.
Another power bonk cast. Nuke coming out.
There it is. There it is!
Swinging Temper and a Temper. And that swing right there, 1,200 damage. Takes down Chaos. Chaos couldn't have even had 1,400 health. GG's to Aligerbrap for finishing that out. Well done. Might have come in second, but that's still a respectable time right there. So we will see if Ali wants to come join us in the chat room to talk for a bit. Checking in with them right now. But GG's to both our runners. Did you have any other thoughts on this, Spectie, while we're waiting on Al?
No, I kind of wish this would have been one of those really, really fun seeds to play in Discord with like 10 people, just to hear everyone's thoughts after the first 10 minutes, right? Because it really kind of forced, like, me as a player, I'm very narrow-minded in how I approach the game. And it really forced me to think outside of the box and go outside of my comfort zone, using spells I'm not familiar with, really having to take a big grind because I couldn't find any gear. So it was really fun. I kind of wish it wouldn't have been one that was restreamed, right? Because you want level 1 nuke and you want a Mazmune in the first chest to really show off like what you can do. But I think as a whole, forcing it to change my approach to it was fun. And I hope that it was enjoyable to watch despite, some of those challenges that we overcame.
I honestly think this was fun to watch because it wasn't your usual first turn nuke kind of run. Speaking of fun runs to watch, Aligerbrap is doing this in the chat room. GG Ali on finishing out that really weird.
Yeah, thank you. I wonder, was there anything in the Earth 2? Because I never checked what was there.
We didn't see anything. I don't think really. Amos?
No, nothing's coming to mind. We didn't see any of the, end game weapons that are actually used as weapons. So you both ended up finishing with the defense sword, I believe.
I had the sun sword. I don't know where defense sword was.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I don't think that's one of the things we wrote down. So.
Yeah, but still, they're pretty similar weapons. So still not, necessarily the favorite weapon that I think either player would want to finish with there.
So, Ali, tell us about your run. How did you feel about how all of that went down?
Yeah, the first thing I was thinking is, why, the first mistake I think I did was going to Crescent Lake instead of checking Earth and the Earth locations, because you had the ruby, you could probably check the locations. It didn't really help you, but it would have probably made you think, oh, I'll go back to Earth Cave, and I don't know if Earth Cave is the way to play, and it was early, but that was the one thing I was worried about how I played, how I saw the seed.
So one play that we think made a very large difference was Spectie ended up taking a few fights in Northwest Castle after seeing the trap tiles. You, on the other hand, decided to move on from them.
Yeah, well,
any thoughts about
that? Offensively, I think, from the start, so I didn't think I could take those.
Yeah, the problem was I think the sandworms had sub 200 health.
Yeah, but I honestly, I don't think I had any attack spells at the time. I didn't have nuke. I was level 4, I think, when I saw Northwest Castle, so I couldn't really I couldn't really nuke something. I was
and
I should have thought to
I think
go
that's
after my March dive, because then I was level 6 and I could have taken 1 or 2 fights, but aside from that, that probably, I mean, like, it's always like how, like, when do you happen to show in that location and like see that the fight and like know that you can kill it fast.
That's fair.
Yeah, even my first attempt, I think I died to the Chimeras 4 straight times before I gave the Sandworms a run. It was just swinging away with my level 5 fighter and a light axe. But 1 kill got me like 3 levels, which gave me 1 nuke charge, which was enough to kind of snowball from there with a house.
Okay, so we do have another couple races going on right now that we'll probably want to switch over to before too long, but I don't want to just cut away immediately. So do you guys have any like further final thoughts, anything else that you want to share about this seed before we start wrapping?
I personally would just say, still, if you're running Earthseed flags, I would highly recommend bringing a White Mage, because having life and exit is really good, especially with an early Earth dive. The problem is when exit's tier 6 and both life charges are tier 8, you don't get that, but take advantage of our bad luck, and you'll be guaranteed to get them, in the first 4 tiers in your run. So take a White Mage and enjoy Earth Week.
Allie, final thoughts?
Yeah, it was a fun scene. Honestly, it was like a hard scene, and like honestly, that's the one thing I really like about playing those scenes. Like, especially, it was probably hard just to get started. And like once you got started, that was pretty much go where you want to go. And honestly, that's the fun part about this FFR. So you never know what you'll be tested in this.
That is fair. Avos, any final thoughts from you, sir?
I definitely thought this was a good seed. It seemed like there was danger spread all around, and there was plenty of speculation about where the good items would be. We found a couple ribbons, but we didn't find any of those fighty endgame swords. So I think it's also good for anyone who's trying to get ideas on what to do when you just don't find the equipment you're really looking for.
Indeed. So, right now we have matches going on over on Randomania with Uriel Man X7 versus Demon Frog, and on Randomania 3, where we have... there we go. Wab 1024 versus Min the Mage. And then, of course, tomorrow on Speed Gaming, as well as all the other great channels that we work with, we have more Final Fantasy Randomizer action coming up. We invite you to stick around, check out what Speed Gaming has going on, watch more Final Fantasy Randomizer, and stay with us throughout the week. Make sure you follow our runners, Spectie and Aligerbrap, on Twitch. Of course, follow our production team as well, Avos and Danny3883, 3883, who's been working behind the scenes to make sure all of our tracking was really awesome this time around. Of course, I am Darkmoon Firelight on Twitch, DarkmoonEX. Give us all a follow, show us your love, show love to the runners, show love to Speed Gaming. Make sure you let everyone know how much you appreciate all the work that is going on in this. From myself, DarkmoonEX, and Avos here in the studio, we want to wish you a good night and more Final Fantasy Randomizer action to come, and we will see you next time.